Have you ever met someone telling you that they no longer understand themselves? You meet a woman who will tell you that she no longer understands who she is. She doesn't even know where her life is heading. She doesn't know where she is in her life. She just feels lost. That is where we talk about people saying that they have lost their identity. Where if you ask someone, who are you? They can't define themselves. Even when you ask simple things like, what do you like doing? They have no idea. You ask them their talents, no idea. You ask them what chores they like doing or what's their hobby, they have no idea. Do you know it's very easy, by the way, to get to that extent? We never realize. It's something that happens. It doesn't happen just at a time. It happens gradually. You get there slowly by slowly. You get there by simple things that you start ignoring until you get to a point you try to stand and analyze yourself and look at your life, and you can't define yourself. You can't know how far you are in life. For example, I could talk of myself. There was a time when I moved to the UK and I came as a student. And there was a time I could sit down and I just felt lost simply because I had moved to a new country. There are bills to pay. The weather is terrible. You miss your family back home. You are in a career that you never thought of you'd ever doing. And when someone asked, I came to sit down one day and really asked myself who I really wanted to become in life. And I was nothing close to that. I never knew what I liked doing. For example, what I used to do is I used to go to school, because I was doing my master's. Immediately after that, I go to work a job that is not related in any way to whatever I'm pursuing in my master's, just because I needed to foot my bills. You see, I had to do these jobs because I needed money, not because I liked doing it. No, I just needed money. You see, so I just had to do these jobs, and there came a time when I just felt lost. I could find myself just crying out of nowhere. I think it's just because life was really hard and I could not define myself. I could not define anything that was happening in my life. And I just sat one day and I realized that something needed to change. And as I said, it is something that happens very, very gradually. It doesn't happen just once a time. So I just came to sit down and realized, okay, I think a lot needs to change. I need to make a lot of changes. Anyway, let's back to our context. There are things that make us to lose our identity. And the first thing that happens is sometimes we try to be there for everyone. For example, in my case, I was trying to make money, probably to support family back home, to just make sure things are going smoothly, as opposed to prioritizing my mental health. You just go for these shifts so that you send money back home, not even home, so that you pay your school fee. Or life just happens to be something you never thought of. You thought you were going into this American dream, you see, but you come to realize that things are nothing close to that. So one thing that makes us to go to that is sometimes you just want to be there for everyone, forgetting ourselves. And sometimes this thing could be forced by us trying to please people. You see, for example, in my case, I never wanted my parents to know that it wasn't the life that I dreamt of, or the life that they were even dreaming of me having in this country. You see, so I was just trying to make sure I foot these bills, send them this money, just for them to know that I am okay, that I'm doing well, I'm abroad doing well, not realizing that I was hurting myself. Anyway, one thing I will tell you is that it gets better. So one thing I will tell you as well is, when you get to a point of you feel like you have lost your identity, sit down and analyzed, where did I lose track? What happened that made me kind of lose my path? So when you've gotten to that extent, you'll start backtracking to see, okay, I think this is where things went wrong. So for my case, I went to sit down and realized, I think one major thing is because I moved to this country and things were not as I expected. So one thing I needed to do was to sit down and say, okay, so what am I going to change in this? What am I going to change for me to start getting back track to the person that I once dreamt of becoming? So when you get to that extent, you now start working on things that you need to do to get back to the person that you used to be. But one thing I will tell you is it's normal. It's normal to just feel lost. It's normal to feel out of this world. And it's good when you realize that things are not okay. Because sometimes we could just be going through life not realizing that things have changed. I must have lost something on the way, realizing that, oh my goodness, I think this something has happened that needs to be backtracked and I need to correct. As opposed to someone who is just going through life, not realizing that things have really gone amiss until they get to a breaking point. So one thing I would tell you is this: when you feel lost, it's okay, but sit down, backtrack. What happened? What changed? What do I need to do? For now, for my case, for example, I came to realize that one thing, I was in a career that I did not like. So I needed to change that. But it takes time. You really need to take a lot of time. So when you get to this point, try to talk out to people that you trust and share with them and say, I think I feel lost in this and that way. What can I do? You see? So after that, they can direct you and advise you on what to do. If it's a career coach, you can talk to them. If it's a relationships coach, if you feel lost in your relationship, could be that is one thing that made you really feel lost, talk to them. If it's an entrepreneur that can advise you on a business to open, talk to them, talk it out, so that at the end of it you get ideas of what you can do. But one thing I will tell you is, when you start getting back to track, you will feel really good. When you start doing things that you love, when you start doing things that make you feel really good, trust me, you will feel good. Trust me, I promise you that. But the best thing is when you realize first that things are not okay. That is the first step to healing. Because if you haven't realized that you're not okay, then nobody will come to help you, because you feel good. You feel you're okay. But let me tell you one thing. Once you have realized that something is amiss and you start working on it, trust me, you'll get back on track and you will be okay. That is one thing I will promise. So one thing I tell you today is this: if you feel lost, it's okay, but start getting back on track, start working on it. You'll eventually get there. All right. So I want you to send this to your friends and tell them that I pass my love to them.